Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak on the Crimes Legislation Amendment, Hate Crimes Bill 2026, to amend the Crimes Act 1900 in relation to hate crimes, that, as the Attorney-General has explained, responds directly to a shocking trend of targeted attacks against the LGBTQIA+ people in our community. I commend the Attorney-General and the Government for their commitment to ensuring all members of our community can live free from hatred and violence. This bill specifically addresses the recent trend of luring and attacking members of the LGBTQIA+ community, and I echo other members in saying that is completely unacceptable in the community I live in to have these abhorrent crimes, and welcome legislation to deter and to address those that perpetrate these crimes. I want to note also that our business paper has a state apology for the criminalisation of homosexuality noted as the resolution of this House on the 6th of June 2024 to issue an apology for the criminalisation of homosexuality. I acknowledge all victims that have suffered from these hate crimes. The people who continue to commit these heinous crimes should face the full force of our law and the legal system. I want to note, before commending this bill and speaking further to the positive attributes of it, that despite welcoming this legislation, I wanted to note the Legislative Review Digest 43 of 58, which does alert that the indictable offence of Section 54BA must be tried summarily unless the prosecutor elects to have the offence dealt with on indictment. I do seek clarity from the Government in relation to the issue raised by the review and potential denial of procedural protections associated with what is quite a long sentence, a 5-year maximum penalty offence, and the possibility of no trial by jury. I also wanted to acknowledge the Legislative Council Standing Committee on Social Issues that was established in 2019, an inquiry into gay and transgender hate crimes between 1970 and 2010. Speaker, today we are seeing technology used to perpetrate these types of crimes, even in my area of the Northern Beaches. Perpetrators are weaponising dating apps to lure vulnerable people into isolated spaces before subjecting them to violent physical assaults, sometimes circulating these online. It's vile, it's abhorrent, and it's fundamentally rejected by the Pittwater community. And as I mentioned, it is deeply concerning that there is evidence of crimes of this type of violence in the Northern Beaches. The Northern Beaches Advocate reported in January 2024 that New South Wales Police were called to a park on Abbott Road in North Curl following reports of an assault of a 47-year-old man who had arranged to meet a male he had met on an online dating app. The man was allegedly assaulted by a group of people who also allegedly stole his belongings. We must act to make it safer for everyone, not only people in our community and those who are victims of hate crimes in general, but there's something particularly abhorrent, as others have mentioned, about luring someone with the vulnerability and pretense of having human connection. It is also a human rights issue. This trend was also raised, the trend more broadly, was also raised by Hugh de Cresta, who's the President of the Australian Human Rights Commission, when discussing Australian Human Rights Assessment 2026 at the National Press Club on April 29 of this year. The President said this: "We live in one of the safest, most stable and prosperous countries on the planet, but our stability, safety and prosperity are not being shared equally. There are gaps and there are failures, and our success is fragile. It's being threatened by major challenges, including polarisation, division, rising racism, climate change, inequality, and rapid technological change. We have a strong foundation to respond, but we must act now, and we need to strengthen our human rights." With some leaders in our community threatening to rip up hate crime laws, and I note with interest today's public interest debate by the member for Strathfield and also heightened emotions today in question time, there is a need for us to continue defending the LGBTQIA+ community and vulnerable religious groups, and we should heed the words of the President of the Australian Human Rights Commission. I welcome this legislation, but we also must be realistic that legislative severity and increasing penalties and extending the Crimes Act does not and will not stop violence. As Equality Australia rightly pointed out, and I quote, "Addressing this will require more than stronger penalties. It will also mean improving reporting pathways, tracking emerging hate trends, and ensuring victims have access to properly funded support services." Before I commend the bill, I also wanted to echo the calls from previous speakers and other members of this place to call on the government to release the SACAR report also. There is no place for this behaviour in our community, and everybody in our community deserves to feel safe. I commend the bill to the House.